Welcome to the studio. I'm Keme Nzerem, and our panel today is looking at the latest in data, and we're going to call it the trade-off, if you like, efficiency versus security. Nick, by virtue of the fact you're sitting next to me, we're going to kick off with you. Cutting edge technology, cutting edge data, info, friend, or as the world out there might have it, foe?
Really, really good question. And I think there's a lot of, as with any new technology, there is a lot of fear, uncertainty and doubt that arises. And with everyone saying, what is this going to mean for us? I think we've seen over the years, those of us that have played in the sector for a while, will have seen a number of these things arise. And the answer is a little bit of both, always. Of any new technology is going to cause challenges, but creates incredible opportunity.
I'm definitely, as a technologist, on the without doubt it's a friend camp. I think I'm hugely optimistic about the way technologies, particularly the most advanced technologies that we now know and love, are genuinely saving lives faster than we've been able to do in our history, and genuinely helping us to improve care, to develop faster medicines and all of those things.
Well, as a technologist, so definitely a friend from my side, and it also creates tremendous opportunity for all our developers to contribute to it. But we also need to be a bit cautious because we do work with customers, so we need to think of the PII data. We cannot be sending any data that is sensitive or personally identifiable, but also taking into consideration there's so many startups, there are so many tools out there. It's quite crazy to see with what kind of speed they're currently going.
Friend, but a friend with caution and boundaries. AI in its broadest sense at the moment is probably like a prepubescent teenager.
I have one of those in my house. Two, in fact.
And so from an AI perspective, it still comes to the idea of nature versus nurture. So the data that we put into those models and the potential biases that we include in those models could have some fairly serious ramifications. So friend with some caution.
But do we not need to distinguish between LLM or the AI technologies that we may wish to use ourselves to make our businesses more efficient, and the risks that external AI hacking, for want of a better phrase, may pose to our systems?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think if you go back and look at pretty much everything that we've done in the world of technology, particularly when it comes to coding, it has become a double-edged sword.
I'm hearing new risks emerging for me in this conversation, and I suspect other people are as well. Because it's such a new, exciting area, I think we're probably still in that phase where we're shaking out how would you conceptualize the different risks that might occur. And I think thinking about how external threat actors could misuse your data is really important. I think we touched a little bit also on some of the biases that might come into play, which are a major risk.
Of course, any AI is only as good as the data it receives. So it requires it requires creating the correct set of information in the first place to get rid of those biases that you speak of.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, as we were saying earlier, we now have the tools that make that more transparent. So you're able to see where there is bias or model it more effectively, which is an amazing thing.
How do we monitor and attack those to be able to react? And this is also where the legislation needs to come into place, because in some countries, you can't do anything. So, and it's also the companies and brands' reputation that is then at stake, because everyone is now digital and people have a tendency to react rather quickly before even verifying the data, which is something that we have also seen happening.
It creates some really interesting societal challenges around what we would want to be in that regulation that I'm not sure everyone would agree on, and that creates a really significant challenge for us as a society and as a community around saying, where do we want to draw the line on these different things? I think the ability to have that conversation in public and the discourse is really important, and the opportunity to come and talk about it in places like this is important as well. And so there's a role for all of us here who understand the technology and who are under the skin of it to be involved in that public discourse and present your views into it, I would say. So the call to action, if you like, for everyone here is you probably know more about it than a lot of the people around you.
Education is part of it, regulation is part of it, as to what everyone has said, but there also need to be a consequences of those actions, which is something that we are not seeing it today.
Right.
So anyone can just go in, create a deep fake, post it, and there are no sanctions because the legal has not applied, and we might see on social networks that there is going to be, let's call it a mutiny, and that something will happen. But the point is, once it's out there, it stays.
We're engaged with various research departments around the world in terms of quantum in particular, because to your point, it's a security game changer in terms of being able to certainly break encryption strings. I would still argue and agree with the rest of you. Gen AI is now, it's here, absolutely, it's accessible to everyone. That's for me what would put it, I think, should put it top of a CISO's agenda.